Buckle up, history buffs, and grab your favorite snack. We're diving into the delightfully dark world of the Victorians. Spanning an intriguing 63 years, this era was a hotbed of socio-political transformation. On one hand, they were a prosperous, innovative, and artistic bunch. On the other, they harbored some seriously unsettling superstitions and obsessions. Charles Dickens himself described it as a time of wit, disappointment, drama, and fear. So, pour yourself a steaming cup of tea and get cozy. We're about to uncover the most mind-blowing practices that defined this bygone era on Crazy Stuff history. But first, let's shine a light on the infamous resurrectionists, or grave robbers, who made life after death a real challenge in Victorian cemeteries. The resurrectionists weren't just after shiny trinkets. They'd snatch anything, from glittering jewels to the deceased themselves. This left grieving families constantly on edge, worried about their loved ones being desecrated. To safeguard against this, wealthier families resorted to extreme measures, investing in metal coffins and constructing fortress-like cemetery fences. But what drove these grave robbers, and who were the buyers fueling this dark market? The answer lies in a surprising law from 1752. The British government's attempt to curb their nation's staggering death rate inadvertently birthed a bizarre black market for stolen bodies. You won't believe why the British government passed a law in 1752 that changed everything. It was all about getting people to donate their bodies for science. They made it compulsory for convicted killers to give up their bodies to medical schools or face the death penalty, effectively flooding these institutions with cadavers. This underground supply lasted over half a century until the medical scene exploded. New schools popped up, and suddenly there were way more students than bodies to dissect. By 1893, the grim reality was 1,200 eager students, but only 49 donated corpses. Yikes. To fill this gruesome gap, medical schools started hiring grave robbers to dig up fresh remains from local cemeteries, giving rise to a bizarre and illicit trade that would shape the future of medicine. Get ready to shiver down your spine. Back in the day, it was totally lawful for body snatchers to dig up freshly buried folks and sell them to medical schools like a shady black market trade. With politicians and the law on their side, these resurrectionists were basically above the law, and doctors couldn't get enough of this illicit merchandise. Some medics even took matters into their own hands and became grave robbers themselves. Talk about despicable. The Victorians' fascination with death led to some seriously spooky photography trends, capturing haunting images that still send chills today. Two types of eerie snaps stood out. You won't believe what Victorians came up with to cope with their high mortality rate. Ghostly photos of moms behind veils and chilling post-mortem shots that put the deceased right in front of you. In this era, death was seen as a sign of God's will, but losing someone dear was unbearable. So families got creative, and out came death photographs, the ultimate symbol of mourning. This bizarre trend became an integral part of their mourning rituals, showing just how far people would go to keep loved ones close even in death. Imagine having two versions of the same photo. One where your dearly departed looks like they're still partying, and another where they seem to be snoozing peacefully. This was quite common back in the day when death photography was a thing. But hey, medicine wasn't as advanced then, and people thought using body parts from deceased loved ones could cure ailments. Talk about gross. In fact, the Victorian era saw a weird trend of prescribing remedies made from mummified remains. One super old recipe book from 1847 even suggested mixing skull with molasses to treat epilepsy. Yeah, that didn't exactly work out as planned. You won't believe what people used to think. That a thief's candle made from fingers of a deceased guy could give you superpowers. Yeah, it sounds wild, but apparently, turning one or more of the dude's fingers into candles would supposedly make you invisible, keep you safe, and let you put anyone under a magical sleep spell. Talk about a creepy magic trick. No wonder this candle was considered the ultimate tool for sneaky thieves. Too bad it didn't actually work. Here's how it got even creepier. Thieves thought that this twisted candle would make them invisible to everyone except their targets, who'd be totally zonked out and unable to stop them. And get this, they believed the candles worked best when made from people who had a super bad end to life. Now, imagine living in the Victorian era, where women could easily be locked up as crazy. Talk about a dark time. So, what did doctors do with these patients? That's exactly what we're diving into next. Meet Gertrude R. Maurice Buck, a doctor from the Victorian era who came up with this chilling solution. If he thought a woman's reproductive system was causing her madness, he'd perform an operation to remove it completely. Yeah, you heard that right in his twisted mind. He believed cutting out a patient's insides would cure them of their supposed craziness. This brings us back to the question, what did doctors do with women they locked up as insane during this wild and dark time? Now, let's dive into the wild world of Dr. R. Maurice Buck. This doctor ran London's asylum for nearly 3 decades, from 1877 to 1902. Can you believe he performed over 200 operations in a bid to fix his patients? He even went as far as removing organs and repositioning body parts in some seriously crazy procedures. In one twisted speech, Buck shared stories of his successes, claiming that chopping out a woman's insides stopped her violent seizures. Sounds like quite the horror show. Get ready for some seriously quirky Victorian vibes. In the era of steam engines and groundbreaking inventions, you'd think people would be all about logic and reason. But nope. The Victorians were actually super into superstition. And when it came to their beloved pets, they took it to a whole new level. When Fluffy sadly kicked the bucket, families didn't just mourn them. Instead, they brought in a taxidermist to bring those pets back to life. Literally, they'd freeze and pose your pup or kitty, so it looked like they were chillin' on the couch or playing fetch. Talk about an immortal pet selfie. But here's where things get really wild. Lady MacDonald wasn't just any crazy cat lady. She was part of a much bigger trend. When her pug bit the dust, she got it stuffed and put on display in its own tiny house, because why not? But then there was Walter Potter, an English taxidermist who took this weird tradition to a whole new level. He thought taxidermy wasn't just for keeping your pet company, he saw it as high art. After checking out some amazing German taxidermy at the Great Exhibition in 1851, Potter was all like, I'm gonna make my own masterpieces. And boy, did he ever. Now that we've met Walter Potter, let's talk about his jaw-dropping creations. This Victorian taxidermist wasn't just stuffing animals, he was telling stories, in a seriously creepy way. He'd pose animals to act out real-life situations, like kids playing school or a group of rabbits getting married. It's like something straight out of Charles Dickens, but not as cozy and charming as you'd expect. So, are there more mind-blowing Victorian facts that'll leave us all shook? Share them in the comments below. If you loved this wild ride through history, hit that like button, subscribe for more crazy stuff history, and thanks for being part of our curious crew. Before we wrap up, don't forget to keep the conversation going by sharing your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you want more mind-blowing history, be sure to hit that subscribe